When I went around looking in stores, I then started noticing that one, not only were there a lot of plastic doll options on the market, but also they seemed more to lean towards white dolls, and then you'd have one brown version. The name of my business is called Imibongo KaMakhulu Handmade Dolls. It is named after my daughter. It is named after her because it was inspired by her birth. So in the year prior to her being born, I remember going shopping and looking for dolls or something soft that she can kind of grow up with, because she'd be a newborn, and that's just, yeah, that was the idea that I had at the time, that I wanted her to grow up with something cuddly, something to comfort her. And I went to stores. I didn't know necessarily what it is that I was looking for. I wasn't thinking color. I wasn't even thinking a doll necessarily. I just wanted something soft that she can, use it for comfort purposes. And so when I went around looking in stores, I then started noticing that one, not only were there a lot of plastic doll options on the market, but also they seemed more to lean towards white dolls, and then you'd have one brown version. The materials used when making our dolls are 100% natural cotton fibers, as well as synthetic felt for the hair, wool as well for the hair. That's mainly it with the products. And the reason behind the materials was because I wanted them for for newborn children. I obviously thought about the safety. You wouldn't give a plastic doll to a baby because chances are they would poke themselves in the eye with it or hurt themselves somehow. The resources that I needed to start my business were not a lot, because I had studied fashion design, and my mind naturally went to fabrication because that's what I was used to working with. And so because this was the type of product that I was willing to and able to make, I needed my hands, I needed my mind. I did the necessary research on the internet. I went to different stores and looked around at what the options were. And so what I basically needed was just time. I needed my hands, I needed my mind to be applied. And that was it. I started quite small, and it was mainly selling to my friends and people immediately around me who I had discussed or shown the concept to, and it grew on its own kind of organically from that point to then mommy bloggers and then the general public, as they kind of got wind of, okay, there's a new business that's now selling inclusive dolls that we've been looking for a while. The impact of the lack of representation in the doll space for young girls and boys, I've found that in my observations, what I think that it communicates to a young boy or a young girl when they don't see themselves in the things that are around them or the toy spaces that are around them, is that it kind of normalizes how invisible you are, or the fact that you don't matter. Because you walk into a shop, you don't see something that's actually made for you, so you figure it does not matter, and so you place less importance on it. And the bigger thing about the doll space as well is that for a child, playtime is very important, just in development, emotional development, mental, all of that. And so if they're using all of that time to now play with something that is supposed to be a reflection of their everyday, and it looks nothing like them, it doesn't necessarily truly reflect their reality. And so I would challenge parents to think beyond what is presented to you in store, because unfortunately the reality is major toy companies aren't going to prioritize those values for us, and it's our job to make it a point that we're more decisive in the things that we consume and the things that we then pass on to our children, because it will impact them in the long run.